Hi everyone, my name is Wilson Leung and I'm the director of the Graduate Leadership Institute. And today I'm here with Dr. Brecher, who is the scholar in residence for positive psychology and the ThriveRU initiative at Ryerson, and also a clinical psychologist for the Student Counseling Center. So Dr. Brecher, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Dr. Brecher, recently you spoke at the Grad Talks and you talked about resilience. And I love the title of that evening. It was Building Resilience, Getting Through Grad School in One Piece. And I thought that was such an appropriate title given the many challenges that grad students face. So from your experience, what are some obstacles and barriers that students, and in particular graduate students, may face?
Well, I think graduate students face some unique challenges because it's such a long process, and part of that process is not in the classroom, but it's actually your own research. And that lack of structure can have its own stressors, in part because grad students typically have so many other obligations. And so it's learning to balance all of the demands on the person's time for a long-term project that they are responsible for and often need a lot of structure in order to manage to complete. And so all of those things can be stressful, and learning to be resilient can be very helpful.
Wonderful. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because students do face these many challenges. Now, that evening during the grad talks, you mentioned a term that I found fascinating, and that was micro-resilience. Can you tell us what is micro-resilience and how can these strategies help a graduate student even now as they're preparing for final exams and assignments?
Well, micro-resilience really refers to the small things that we can do moment to moment in the course of a day that can help us reset and come back to neutral. And it's really based on some interesting research that was done in the field of sports, tennis specifically, looking at tennis champions, and how they were able to win championships was really based on energy recovery and positive focus. So how quickly can you reset? So the idea of micro-resilience is when you're facing an obstacle or a challenge or a frustration, do you wallow in it or do you find a way to reset, regroup, and get focused back in? So the workshop I offered was on a whole series of different kinds of resilience strategies that can help. So even something as simple as drinking a glass of water before engaging in a really complex task can help reset the body and reset the focus. Another is based on resetting your primitive alarms. So when you feel really threatened, your body responds in a very hyper-alert way. Can it be helpful to find a way excuse me, to go back to your neutral so that you're able to manage a situation from a good, calm place instead of feeling like it's do or die, fight or flight.
Yes, yes. I appreciated what you said about resetting, and I think that's such an important skill as a grad student and as a leader as you go through your various challenging circumstances.
Excuse me.
Now, I want to turn our attention to some long-term strategies.
Okay.
Now, I know that in terms of that initial talk, it was about micro-resilience, but are there macro-resilient strategies, especially as we're heading into a brand new calendar year, for students to think about and apply as they head into 2020?
Absolutely. So I developed a model of resilience that really has mindfulness at the heart of it, which is about being able to be present in this moment. But there are four other components. It's gratitude, optimism, self-compassion, and grit. Grit is another term for perseverance. And so if we're mindful and present-oriented, if we're able to notice the good things in our lives and let them be a counterbalance to all the stressors, if we can frame things from a more optimistic lens, if we're willing to be self-compassionate and forgive ourselves for the mistakes we make, and if we can tap into our existing strengths that allow us to persevere when we do something we love, can we apply those to the things that we are finding more challenging? Those are all aspects of resilience that allow us to bounce back in the face of adversity.
Wonderful. And I appreciated all of those strategies because they're not only applicable to a graduate student, but even when they graduate, their career and just life in general. I think those are wonderful skills to have.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Brecher, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your expertise and your insights. And for all the grad students as well, if you would like to learn more about building resilience, please do check out ryerson.ca/ThriveRU and go to the Thriving in Action section, and you can find more resources there. And I would just encourage you to just give some consideration and thought to what Dr. Brecher shared today and see how you might be able to apply your resilience and increase both your micro and macro resilience, both in your grad studies and in your leadership going forward. Thanks, and see you again.
Bye.